Hello everyone, JL Wasabi here. Today we are doing a quick video for patch 14.5 that had just dropped. But before we begin, I would just like to remind you to like the video if you find it useful and also to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Thank you and let's check out the patch updates. So this is the patch 14.5 update that just dropped today. So the patch highlights are that there are buffs to Anima Squad, Exotech, and Techie, as well as some units, Kindred, LeBlanc, Vayne, Rengar, as well as Vega. Nerfs were made to Leona, 10,000 IQ, as well as Board of Directors. There are also a lot of reworks and changes to items and artifacts in general, which I had previously actually uploaded a video to discuss these changes, whether it's a buff or whether it's a nerf, because they had previously released a little patch on it to describe the changes beforehand. So do check out the video if you haven't done so. So there are changes to opening encounter. So the 2-star 2-cost opening encounter, which was one of the Garen's portal, the upgraded that has been disabled because it is actually very impactful portal because you either get a very good start, such as the Twisted Fate 2-star along with a Rage Blade. So this was what I actually got in one of the games, and it was crazy snowbally because I actually managed to win streak for quite a long time if you have checked out that video. And in the end, I can't remember if I actually won the game, but I at least did very well. And if sometimes you actually get bad units like Graves or LeBlanc 2-star, you're actually forced to sell it off, and it feels really bad to do so. Yeah, so I think they disabled it because it's a bit too luck-based. The split or non-split pot of gold portal also been disabled because of a lot of bugs, but I think that's fine. It's not a very impactful portal and not that fun, to be honest. Yeah, so because of that, there's increasing odds made to the other opening encounters like Fourth Augment, Prismatic Opener, Prismatic Finale, Crab Brave. The tank golem in the golem armory has also been changed slightly because one of the items that's usually on the golem, Anima Visage, has been removed from the game due to the item changes. So it's replaced with the Indomitable, which is an artifact that actually simulates one of the tank anomalies from previous set, which is Deep Roots. So for those of you who actually like it, maybe you can try it out. So there are large changes. So mainly you see here a lot of description for the item changes. So I'll read it, but if you actually want some short summary version, you can actually refer to my guide that have been uploaded since I think last week. Yeah. So some of it has been changed, some of it has been reworked. So first up is for Guinsoo's Rage Blade. So it changes the way that attack speed is being gained. So it's no longer on a per attack basis. It's gained per second. So it's on a time basis that they are gaining this attack speed. So it allows for units with lower attack speed to actually equip this item as well. So it becomes a more flexible item in general. So even Senna, as we know, with a very low attack speed but high AD, is able to equip it now because it's no longer gated by the amount of times you can do the auto attacks. Yeah, but because of this, I think it's also more flexible, and it opens up many other builds for other units, even casters. Because usually if it's a caster, you do not want to equip Guinsoo's Rage Blade, right? Because when they cast, they are not attacking, and therefore they are not gaining attack speed. But right now, it's not the case. And I think also one of the points that I actually made in my video is that I'm not sure if this attack speed gains with time, even when you're stunned. So if it actually does gain attack speed even when you're stunned, it's actually a very good counter towards crowd control like your Sejuani stun, right? Because last time when you equip like 2 Guinsoo Rage Blade, you do not want to get stunned because the moment you get stunned, you're losing a lot of DPS, right? So if this is the case, it's actually very good against crowd control. Yeah, because when you recover from the stun, you actually have slightly higher attack speed than before you were stunned. Yeah, so let's watch this space and see what other new development comes out from these changes. Yeah, you will never know. Next one is Guard Breaker. So it has been changed to fit the crit build more rather than hitting a shield. So now it's solely from getting a crit attacks on your hits in order to trigger this Striker's Flail damage amp. Yeah, so it's more concentrated towards building a crit build like your brand, where you build your Shojin, your Jewel Gauntlet, and your Striker's Flail. So now it does more upon crit rather than being dependent on having shields being hit by your units. Next one is Kraken's Fury. So it has been changed. This one was from Runa's Hurricane. So it's been changed to Kraken's Fury, whereby it actually increases AD upon auto attack. So it's a bit like Green Suits from last set, but instead of increasing attack speed, it increases your attack damage. So this is good on units that have low attack damage, not on Senna. Senna already has very high attack damage. Like units like Zeri, which has low AD, can make use of this item that because they do not have other traits such as like marksman that increases their AD also. Yeah, so this is a good item to be paired with your Green Suits Rage Blade as well because it increases attack speed with time and auto attack damage with the auto attacks. Spirit Visage is now a replacement for Redemption, so it's similar to the Animal Visage from previous set, even though it was removed. So the health regen was brought in, but it no longer provides an aura like the previous Redemption, but it's just a solo tank item for big tank units like Cho'Gath and Nico. There's also rework to Sterak's Gauge. Also, this is much better. Watch my guide is I think the most buffed item on this list, so it should make a lot of bruiser build very strong right now, and it may or may not make it to meta, but it definitely will increase the strength by a lot for bruisers like Zed. So maybe you can try to explore playing your Divinity Corp Zed together with Sterak's Gauge, Bloodthirster, and other items, bruiser items. Yeah. There's also changes from Static Shift to Void Staff. So this is now no longer a your Zappy Zap item for your strat to the backline. Rather, it acts like a Last Whisper for your AP main carry to equip so that they can deal damage and strat the exact target that they are attacking and damaging. Yep. So because Void Staff itself does not have any crit unlike your Last Whisper, so this probably opens up a lot of other builds for your AP carries. Not necessarily a crit build, so maybe something like a Shojin. You can still equip a Jewel Gauntlet, but you need to equip this Void Staff because Void Staff, if you check out the stats, actually gives a lot of AP. So I'll go through it quickly. So for like Guardbreaker, it's the same as the previous one. So Striker's Spell's stats are generally the same, but these crits grant 5% damage M for 5 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Green Suits grants 7% stacking attack speed per second. Retention removed and replaced by Spirit Visage. It gives health, mana, and durability onto the unit equipping it, restoring 2.5% of missing health per second. Runas being removed, replaced by Kraken's Fury. Attacks grant 3% stacking attack damage. Static Shift removed, replaced by Void Staff. So it grants 35 AP, so this is quite a lot. So which is why you are encouraged to actually equip it onto your AP carry. And stretch 30% for 3 targets does not stack. So this is on the target that you're actually hitting. For Sterak's Gauge, at 60% health, instead of now gaining max health, it now gains a shield equivalent to 60% of their max health that decays over 6 seconds. So this one, I think it was nerfed a bit. Previously, I think when the patch came out, it was 80%, so it was actually a lot. So maybe it was a bit strong during PB testing, so they actually lowered it a bit. Yeah, so these are the Radiant version of these changed items. So things to take note, I would say, would be the Radiant Spirit Visage, because it has now 15% durability and restores 5% of missing health each second. So this, I think this is even higher than the previous Animal Visage as an artifact, because I think that gave like, I think 3.5% missing health each second. So this Radiant Spirit Visage does even more, and I think the stats it's giving is even higher. So this is probably one of the strongest Radiant item out there. So do look out for it if you're able to get like Radiant items. I think Radiant Void stuff in particular, I think the stats is not that much different from the non-Radiant version, right? So only a slight increase in AP. The strat is the same, but even though it's for rest of combat, I think this one is probably a bit useless compared to last time where we usually build Radiant Shift because increase the number of targets being attacked and shredded by double, right? From 4 to 8, if I remember. So that was like one of the top Radiant items you want to get. But now for Void stuff, maybe you do not want to build the Radiant item. For Sterak's Gauge, they increased the amount of shield to 100% that decays over 8 seconds, also not that great, but the item itself, the normal item is quite strong, in my opinion. Yeah. So there are also changes to artifacts as well as support item. So there's a new flicker blade that actually works the same as Green Suit from last set. Attacks, so the auto attacks grant 8% stacking attack speed, and every 5 attack, they also grant some stats, similar to how Twisted Fate's passive work right now. So there's also Indomitable, where the move speed is drastically reduced. So instead of not being able to move like Deep Roots anomaly last set, they actually move very slowly. So this is to prevent certain bugs from happening in the game. Yeah. So they also give 400 HP and gain 10% max HP, stun immunity, and push the target into melee range. So this is actually a very strong artifact because it gives a lot of health to your main tank. So do look out for this. Definitely very strong on Cho'Gath and like your Mundo build, your 3-star Mundo, and other kind of strong main tanks out there. So there's also static shift. So it works the same, just without the strat. So it zaps the enemy at the back. So this is now an artifact. So it's rarer to get, but it does way more damage because it includes 40% of the holder's AP now. There's also a Titanic Hydra, which is a bruiser item. So attacks deal 3% of holders' max health and 8% of their attack damage as bonus physical damage to adjacent enemies. So I think in Mondog's patch rundown, he was mentioning that I think the item rundown, sorry, the item changes video, he was mentioning that this actually probably works very well on the 3-star units, especially Senna, because of high AD. And in general, for 3-star units, they have very high stats, right? Higher AD, higher max health. So this is good to equip on them. There's also Lich Bane proc damage being increased. So because this, I think I rarely use this item, so I think they'll try to increase its use. And also Morgul's Mail, HP per stack increased from 7 to 10. Wits End now has increased HP and armor for the equipping unit. So this is intended to be equipped for like your AP bruisers such as Koboko to be used. Spike has been removed, so no more funny shenanigans with your Zac. So traits-wise, there are some buffs. Anima Squad, 3 Anima Squad weapons damage increased by 10%. So this is affecting the 3 Anima Squad weapons that are being given. Blade Orang, Guiding Hex, as well as your Uru Blasters. So they are doing slightly more damage. And because this weapon damage actually carries throughout the game, whether you are at 5 Anima Squad or 7 Anima Squad, so it's actually a buff throughout the whole game for Anima Squad in general by 10%. Yeah, so when your star level increases, everything increases for the weapon damage. So it's actually, I think it's not as little as it seems. So do look out for Anima Squad being stronger in this patch. For 7 Exotech, it's been buffed as well because nobody plays 7 Exotech right now unless like very specific situations like you get an Exotech emblem, but you rarely do so because you either play 3 Exotech or 5 Exotech with like your Vexotech comps or your Bastion Morgana comp. Yeah, you do not necessarily go vertical because it's not that strong right now, and a lot of other comps are much stronger to be played. There's also buff again to Techie on 6 Techies and 8 Techies, the AP gain. I tried out in one of my videos the 6, I think I got 8 Techies with Brand and Viego. It was decent. So I think this one probably makes it a lot stronger, but it's not so easy to go towards 6 and 8 techies because you need to find Viego to stabilize as well as 2-star Brand. And these units, especially Brand, is very contested. And along the way, you do not feel very stable because you do not, as usual, your tanks are not very strong in your Shyvana and your Mordekaiser by themselves because most of our units are backline units. So however, if you're in a good spot, such as you get an early techie emblem so that you can fit in your Cyberboss units to stabilize your comp, you can consider trying this. Yeah, it's definitely stronger if you can get there, but I think the issue is about getting there. For one-class champions, I think there are some buffs to the trade boards, as they say. Buffs to Kindred and Nidalee, because nobody uses Kindred nowadays. So like even unless you are playing a 4 Nitro board vertical, you usually drop Kindred, right? When you get to the late game because you just want to keep your strong Elise and your Nidalee as well as your Shyvana as a front line. So you usually drop Kindred if you want to play 3 Nitro thereafter. Nidalee is also rarely being equipped with any items, so there's some buffs to it. However, I think this buff, I'm not too sure if it affects the Nitro play rate because it's already very highly played right now. Because at the start, it doesn't even feel very weak to begin with. So it's actually quite stable for everyone to be playing Tempo Nitro into your Elise comp, mid game, your Dynamo, or your with transit into your Brom Syndicate as well. So I think this one might cause slight issue because making the early game easier for the players actually make it easier for them to get there without necessary penalties that are involved. Yeah. So for 2-cost champions, there's also buffs to Graves. I mentioned just now, but Graves and LeBlanc, you do not want to get it in the 2-star 2-cost opener. So now they are buffing it because it is not strong. Graves especially is not strong beyond stage stage 2. Usually when you reach stage 3, you cannot really carry your game. You will fall off. So there's a 5 AD gain as well as some ability AD percentage gain on 3-star and 4-star. Yeah, so 1 and 2-star, not so much changes. So it actually encourages you to try a 3-star Grace, but not too sure if it's enough. Yeah, but it definitely will help a bit with your Golden Ox comp. Yeah. For LeBlanc, ability damage increased. So maybe useful for your LeBlanc carry 3-star with Mana Zane, but other than that, I don't really find it that useful. You might even actually accidentally cause you to win some fights when you're trying to lose streak for a Cypher. There's also changes for Vayne because it's losing DPS because of the Rage Blade, Greensuit Rage Blade changes. You cannot really run 2 Rage Blades anymore. So they're actually buffing her in her mana. So she casts her skills better now with 50 mana to do the initial cast, and then subsequently 1 less auto attack to cast her skill. This is good because right now, if you equip the Greensuit's Rage Blade as mentioned, even when you're casting your abilities a lot, it does not matter because the attack speed will still gain with time. And this also helps, I think, with Kraken's Fury because her skill actually shoots out 3 attacks, and I think it procs as auto attacks, so it helps to stack up the AD. However, the issue I see here is probably that for Slayer, they really grant you a lot of AD in terms of your stats from your 6 Slayers and your 4 Slayers. So you don't necessarily want to keep on stacking this AD, but rather you would like to play crit, right? So this might open up, I feel in my opinion, I might be trying it out, a Vayne reroll with Anima Squad, given that Anima Squad was also buffed to some extent. Yeah. So we might try to play that and see how it goes. It might be viable to be using Vayne as a 3-star carry in an Anima comp rather than forcing it via Slayer right now. So Vega also a slight buff to its 2 and 3-star to catch up with the meta strength right now. I think Vega, even though it was quite strong to begin with, it has fallen off recently. So for 3-cost champion, 2 AD buff to Rengar AD. I think more or less, I think it's still okay. Like even if you manage to hit your 3-star Rengar on time, it's actually quite a strong comp and unit to be using. So I think this, I would say unjustifiable, but it certainly helps in the meta because there are a lot of other strong comps, especially the 1-cost reroll comps like your Morgana. Like before you can reach the backline and kill off your Morgana, it's probably close to dying already. Yeah, so I think this helps it a lot, but I won't expect it to be back in the meta anytime soon. 4-cost champion, so Leona. Yeah, every game you know that one of the most contested traits and the units are the Vanguard units. For your Marksman, for your Syndicate, for your Slayers, everyone is trying to play Vanguard units. Not too sure why Braum didn't get nerfed, but it's fine. At least they nerfed Leona. So the initial cast is still the same. It takes 60 mana to cast the first cast, but the subsequent cast is being slowed down from 100 to 120 mana. So this probably nerfs Leona slightly. I won't think that it will nerf the Anima Squad comp in general, because unless you are really relying on Leona as your sole tank carry, which you shouldn't be. You should be including other Bastion units together with your Silas and your Ilaoi, such as Sejuani or your Renekton in order to make the front line more viable. Yeah, augment changes. So there are a lot of changes to augments, a few, not a lot. Anger issues got removed because of Greensu. Lifelong learning got buffed. Shock trimmer also removed because there's no more static shift in the normal items. Unstable evolution got increased, but these are all black market augments. Wise spending as well. So instead of they nerfed it from every one roll you gain 2 XP, now you gain 3 XP every 2 rolls, and now because it's been dumpstered after the nerfs, they are changing it back, so they are getting 4 XP gain per 2 rolls. So you still need to roll twice in order to gain this, but these are all black market augments. So it is rare to begin with, it shouldn't affect the game much. 10,000 IQ, the gold reward got nerfed from 8 gold to 4 gold. Board of directors got nerfed because it's been overused for your Vexotech comp for sure, as well as nowadays your Bastion Morgana comp. Category 5 got removed because Runans is no longer in game. Small changes. Yeah, so the other time I think the previous patch, when they said small changes on AMP, it caused AMP to become very strong because 4M got buffed, right? They increased the number of M charges for M at 4M. So now small nerfs to 5M from 600 to 500. I think this is unlikely to affect the power level of this 5M comp. I would likely see a lot more nerfs coming the way because it's too strong. Yeah, you can just lose straight into this and it is very stable to play. Once you hit a Lucky Samira or even you just hit 4M, it's very stable already. You start to win fights. I think that is not viable in terms of how you want to be playing TFT because you don't want people to just open and lose straight into getting these units and to stabilize and win the game. Boombot 6 got slightly nerfed because it's a very strong comp because if you do not know, the missile damage actually can hit the back line. So it's actually quite strong because sometimes your units will just die to this missile shooting at them. Rapid fire attack speed for 6 rapid fire got slightly nerfed. I think this don't change things too much. I think the other time they buffed it because it was very underplayed, but now they're nerfing it back because everyone starts to realize that Renekton is a very strong unit with rapid fire emblem. So they're nerfing it. For champions, Alistar flat damage reduction got increased at 3-star. So do take note for your Mundo Zara reroll because it's one of the 3-star units for that comp. Kog'Maw ability got buffed at 3 and 4-star. So I actually had a 4-star Kog'Maw game recently from Worth the Wait. It was really very strong because Boombot itself is actually a very strong trade right now. So I think you probably will not be incentivized to be playing 3-star Kog'Maw reroll anyway because there are not a lot of other things that you can be rerolling for to play a 1-cost reroll comp. Fortunately, because we do not want another 1-cost reroll comp appearing in the meta. Seraphine's ability damage got increased for 3 and 4-star. So also another buff to the Mundo Zara comp. Viability shield got improved as well. This one not necessarily happy about it unless you're playing Seized and Deceased Vi. If you're playing Cypher, it might cause some issues, but I think it's only on 3 and 4-star, so that's still fine. Your units usually are 1 and 2-star anyway in the Cypher comp. Cho'Gath 3-star got nerfed. Ziggs Bomb Travel and Cast Point got buffed. So this one, you should feel better playing Ziggs. And Aurora's base damage ability got buffed at 2-star. So this is just the base ability damage, not the one that splits, not her nuke damage. Yeah. So there are also bug fixes to Ziggs, as well as making BRB, AFK, and delayed start exclusive from each other. Yeah. There are also some changes to your Remix Rumble Revival set. So mainly the strong comps like your Any comps and your KDA, Mosher, they're all getting some buffs or nerfs. Yeah, so nothing huge. So if you're playing it more, we'll run through, but you can read it for yourself. Yeah, so that's for the patch 14.5 changes. So once again, if you have reached the end, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something from here. If you find this video useful, I would greatly appreciate if you can like the video and subscribe to my channel for more guides and more gameplay videos. See you again. Bye-bye.